So, firstly, a very warm welcome to our business showcase interviews. My name is Ron Maycock. I'm the owner of Action Coach Castleford and also of Business Performance UK. Delighted to be joined today by Joe Morris. Joe is the director at Town and Country Property Auctions. And we'll be hearing a lot more from Joe in a few moments. But Joe, very good morning. Welcome along.
Thank you, Ron. Good morning to you.
Fantastic. So before we do introduce Joe formally, just wanted to explain the purpose of these interviews. We're surrounded in the UK by some amazing businesses. Each of those have a story to tell, and those businesses often are challenged with being able to circulate their news, circulate their message to as wide an audience as possible. And these interviews help us share their journeys, showcase their achievements, and ultimately maximize their exposure. This is all in the name of abundance, and it's for the benefit of businesses across the UK. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Joe. Joe, tell me a little bit more about Town and Country Property Auctions.
Okay, Town and Country Property Auctions as a brand has been around probably for about 10 years. And the auction brand or the auction offering came out as a result of them being involved in private treaty for a good while prior to that. What's happened over the last 2 or 3 years is they've taken a franchise offering, if you like, and a number of business owners around the country have signed up to represent Town and Country in their particular area. We're operating in Cheshire, Staffordshire, Shropshire, and Manchester and South Manchester. And as it says on the tin, we are specialist property auctioneers, and we are helping vendors around the country take their property to auction. It's very fast, no fuss, and it's free.
Is it all residential, or do you do any commercial at all?
We've had a number of nice commercial opportunities as well. The vast majority is residential, Ron. But yeah, we have expertise within the business in terms of coming up with the right valuation. We've got a lot of people on our kind of database looking for opportunities. So yes, we do a small number of commercial opportunities, but yeah, we have the expertise to cope with that as well.
So you mentioned that the services to a person selling their property through yourself, through the auctions, is free. What's the commercialization model within the business?
Okay, well, there is some competition in the sector, but the standard model is that it is the purchaser who will pay what's called a buyer's premium on top of the actual cost of the property, and that is how specialist auctioneers are able to make it, commercially viable. We do it on a no sale, no fee basis. So it's pretty attractive to vendors. They can take their property to market. If it's priced correctly, we try and use the mantra, guide low, but sell high. You only need 2 people interested in an auction run, obviously, and then, potentially you've got a nice proposition for the vendor. So yes, it is no sale, no fee, free to the vendor. The only thing they would pay for on, if they are successful, like anyone selling, they need to sort out their legals. So there's a fixed fee legal for the conveyancing, and they would pay that on completion.
And you as a business, you actually run the auction itself, or just provide the content for it, if you like?
Yeah, I think that's a good way of describing it. Yes, we do our own listings. We produce all the information and photographs. We advertise on the usual portals, your Rightmoves and your Zooplas. The actual online auction infrastructure is provided to us by head office, a very slick, very easy to use. We contact all our potential bidders in the weeks leading up to the auction, make sure they're comfortable, see if they want to have any demos in terms of how to bid. You certainly don't want to be hitting that button incorrectly, shall we say. When the hammer goes down, we do unconditional auctions, which means completion should, in virtually every case, take place 28 days later. Again, very attractive to a vendor on. No chance of gazumping, no chance of challenges with surveys, no chance of mortgage offers being withdrawn or amended. hammer goes down, the purchaser is legally committed to buy. And, you know, as I say, that's quite an attractive proposition, really.
And is there a particular type of property that constitutes your sweet spot within the market? Is there?
Not really, Ron. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, a relatively small proportion of all the properties sold in the UK are sold, you know, via auction, but it is a growing a number, you know, for lots of reasons. But no, any property should always achieve best value at an auction. But you know, if there is, in inverted commas, you know, a blight on the property, then it can be quite crisp, clean, straightforward, just to take that property to auction. But no, we have anything from, you know, 15,000-20,000 pounds up to, you know, £500,000, million plus.
Yeah. It seems to be less popular in the UK than in other places. Auctions seems to be the way that some countries go through. You know, but as you say, it's been around for a long time. Even, you know, even my parents bought a house through auction in 1977.
Yeah.
You know, so it's been around for some time. Growing in popularity, and bizarrely, I'm always amazed that it's not been more popular for longer.
Yeah.
Whether it's exposure through TV shows and, you know, people following buyers and the normal sort of daytime TV kind of thing, whatever it's been. But yeah, it seems to be on the up in terms of the route to a quick and effective sale where you're guaranteed to sell the property in the first place. So, and what's your role within the organisation then, Joe?
Okay, well, we're fairly new. We probably started in earnest about 4 or 5 months ago. We've had 3 or 4 pretty successful auctions at the back end of last year, considering we were, you know, a cold start. I'm one of the business owners and the proprietors, and it's my role to promote the service both direct to the public via our website and via various marketing campaigns, but also very important to us are our introducing partners, estate agents typically, and they are a very important part of our business. You know, they're out and about in the field, you know, day in, day out doing valuations. If they see a property that they think is more suited to the auction route rather than private treaty, then they will refer that to us, and we will, quite rightly, commercially share the fee with them, Ron. So yeah, it's all about client care, business development, you know, promoting the brand.
And where's most of the business coming from? You mentioned that it's about marketing and getting the name out there and raising awareness. Is there a particular strategy that's working? Is it coming from strategic alliances that you mentioned in terms of estate agents and things like that? Or what's your best thing in terms of generating interest at the moment?
The partner option, partner acquisition, is the majority of our properties thus far. As I say, whilst the brand has been around for a while, it's a relatively cold start brand in our area of operation. So it's relatively easier to talk to a committed estate agent who appreciates the value of having an auction option, but doesn't want to incur all the costs of setting it up themselves. It's very crisp, very clean. I've always wanted to be involved in estate agency, Ron, but couldn't really, because estate agents are critical to me in terms of, you know, conveyancing referrals, mortgage finance referrals, and things like that. You don't bite the hand that feeds you. Having an auction option is excellent. It allows me to cement those relationships with estate agents by giving them an added value service, which is not competing with their private treaty stuff. So yes, the introducers are important. And again, we love the idea of, you know, getting more sold boards out there. It's still, you know, I've been in property for longer than I care to mention, and you know, the old board count used to be the ultimate arbiter of how successful an agency was doing in a particular area. We look forward to more and more for sale and sold boards for town and country going up around our patch and indeed around the country.
How are you finding your route to market is changing, are you finding that the use of social media is now becoming a greater influencer of getting bums on seats and people to actually attend these auctions, get interest in properties, or is it still through the tradition? I mean, you mentioned the sold boards and things like that. Still, that visual impact still attracts people and raises awareness of the brand and the name. But are you finding that there are new things that you're doing that are generating a lot of interest as well?
Yeah, well, very interesting and very topical, actually. That, I mean, obviously you have to use what would be called the tried and trusted traditional methods. You do your marketing, you've got your own websites, you do your mail shots. We're all over Rightmove and Zoopla. But it was either last week or the week before, we had a very nice property on our patch, and we put a little thing out on Facebook offering an open house, and we had 7 would-be purchasers turn up for the window that we were there. Not rocket science, but just nice use of, we think this is a great property, come and have a look. And 7 different people took time out to go and have a look. So we fully expect that to be a popular lot on at the next auction at the end of January.
And how often are you doing the auctions? What's your time frame between auctions typically?
We do them monthly, Ron, usually the last Thursday of each month. Sometimes, depending on when you've taken a property on during the course of that month, it may not be appropriate, if you like, to take that to the next one. So we would just withdraw that and then take it into the auction. Lots of vendors, they want to believe that, right, well, I want it in as soon as possible. But, we need to do the marketing piece. We need to warm up, the purchasers and things like that. But yeah, every month around the country, and our auctions are currently being done, obviously, online. COVID and the pandemic changed estate agency significantly. I mean, for long periods of time, we couldn't even get in people's houses. Do you know what I mean? And auction rooms, which again had traditionally been the way of selling properties. We've all watched Homes Under the Hammer, I'm sure. It's slightly different now. Yeah, it's slightly different. To be able to do it online, nice, crisp, clean, possibly depersonalize it a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's about matching a vendor with the right purchaser, and we seem to do very well with that online.
It's interesting you say that, and it's not exclusive to the property side of things, and the challenges that forced our hand a little bit through lockdown, through COVID, and everything has caused different businesses to move in different ways. And actually, I do some work with an auction house that is entirely online auctions, and they are primarily dealing with plant and machinery from factories. So they're working a lot with insolvency practitioners and whatever, whether you're divesting assets, and they've found that is by far and away the most successful way, and they're running similar sort of thing. Every single month they've got an auction, and it could be a car, it could be a desk, it could be the actual physical property, it could be, but all on the commercial side, and it could be some leftover stationery. It's everything in between. But at the end of the day, people are becoming more and more aware that is a source to acquire things that they're wanting to get hold of. And it's just it all boils down to awareness. It's the same challenge of making people aware of what you've got. Yes, there's going to be a little bit of driven by the quality of the properties that are being put through auction, but if it's I'm guessing things that are done through probate and things like that, where people are saying, okay, we want to get rid of a property, we don't really want the hassle, we just want to get something for it, we want to realize an estate or whatever it may be through probate. I'm guessing that could be quite a pertinent route for auctions, where people are going.
Absolutely. We work well with lots of legal firms, again, insolvency practitioners, people responsible for disposing of assets. But we mustn't have a kind of misconception, Ron. I mean, we sell everything from what you might call investor opportunities, experienced landlords, where the property needs some work, to turnkey, where your first time buyer or your home mover can bid with confidence at auction and move in with the property in its current state. We do plots. People are always interested in plots. Nice way of taking a plot is to go via the auction route. Lots of builder contacts and things like that. So yeah, this isn't about a property that needs work. This is about any property is suitable and appropriate to go to auction. It's just a matter, as I say, of matching it with the right purchaser and achieving that best value.
I think a lot of it is educating the market that this is a really good and effective way to move your property on, rather than
Absolutely.
going through a more traditional route and quite often a much longer route to actually just say, let's just move it. The property will sell itself. If there's interest, the true market value will come out of the market's willingness to buy it at the end of the
Absolutely.
day. So it takes away from these false expectations where someone's been told, oh, we should realize this for your property, and then they're sat there going, I'm not accepting that offer because it's not what I was told it might be worth. The market will dictate what it's actually worth at the end of the day, and auctions is a great way of doing that because it's current and it literally is real time. I guess it's only worth what people are willing to bid for.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the value of anything, Ron, isn't it? We can all use our expertise and our skills and our ICS qualifications and try and make our best estimate. But at the end of the day, it's what someone's prepared to pay. We don't profess to be better than private treaty. I think that's the wrong way of looking at it. We're a different option. If we go and see a property and we think actually that's more suited to private treaty, we work with partners and say, we've come across this, why don't you have a look? Because we think that's a more appropriate way to market. It's just giving an option. Everyone's circumstances are different, but what we don't want is, as I say, this misconception that properties at auction need work. Some do. Some properties that are sold at private treaty need work. It is a different route to market, and my belief is that it's becoming increasingly popular because, as I've said before, it's crisp, it's clean, cost effective, and we know what we're doing, and we inspire some confidence. Let's be honest, Ron. Selling and buying houses is still probably, for the majority of people, the most expensive and possibly most stressful financial transaction they'll ever undertake. And if you're good at what you do, your market, and you are competitively priced, why wouldn't people come to you continually? And we're very proud of the brand, and we look forward to it growing over the coming months and years.
So what's the plan? What's new for 2023?
Well, interestingly enough, we just talked about different ways to market, and the fact that the 28-day completion on an unconditional basis is very attractive. Hammer goes down, but we have to be more creative. Perhaps first-time buyers, people new to the market, don't often think of the auction route. So we're trying to come up with more creative products that have the finance element supported almost. Auction finance can be, I hesitate to use the word specialist, but it's perhaps different to your traditional private treaty mortgage. We've been working hard with a number of brokers trying to inspire confidence in people who perhaps aren't very experienced in auctions at all. Get the finance option in place, give them some free expert advice, and see if we can move more to, say, having an option where it's a 45-day completion or a 60-day completion. Again, there's this misconception that everyone who turns up at an auction has got thousands of pounds in a brown paper bag, ready to hand over. Lots and lots of finance options available. It's just about being creative. So we're working on that at the minute, and we hope to launch that. Having said we were online, we think there is still a market for people who want to go back into an auction room. So we'll perhaps be doing a couple of auctions this year, going back to having people in a room, perhaps a showcase auction, for want of a better phrase. So yeah, lots and lots of things going on, Ron. Yeah, lots of things going on as we all fight the general economic challenges we're all facing.
It's really interesting. Part of my sort of business works with businesses in the succession planning and exit strategy. Now, we're typically working with those 3 to 5 years out. But for years, there's been a term used in business acquisition, which is deferred consideration. And the deferred consideration is exactly what you said, that people don't turn up with a brown paper bag and go, I've got 500 grand or £1 million to just spend. Here's a tranche of money to secure the deal. And over a period of further tranches that are legally committed, then the rest of the money will appear. And actually,
that's a good way. Yeah.
If you can deliver that in a time frame still less than when a vendor would receive their money from selling through a traditional route, then it makes sense that even if they're getting half of it or a third of it, upfront within 7 days or something as a deposit, to then further it forward, it gives them that confidence that it's going through. It's not going to get gazumped. It's not going to get, it's committed, but we will get the money over a 2-month period or whatever it may be. And that actually could increase the volume significantly. So it's an interesting concept, and there's a lot of crossover in terms of it being a business that you're selling or a property. It makes no difference. It's still you're selling and somebody's buying it for a significant chunk of money that they might not have all in one place. Especially with the mortgage lenders, that they're, as you say, it's quite a specialist area, and it's whether people then go down a bridging loan kind of route to say, here's some money to tide me over until I can get the mortgage secured once I've acquired the property. So, different ways, but it sounds like there's lots of opportunity for the year ahead and the years ahead, should I say. Really challenging how it's done, I think, is probably going to be the right thing to do. Auctions, selling houses have been done a certain way on both sort of channels for a long time. There's lots of opportunity with technology to disrupt that. And it's a very exciting time within your industry, I'm guessing. So excellent.
It is. It is. I mean, obviously, we have another economic, if you like, downturn. Seen lots of these before without being glib. I mean, people face those challenges head on, try and stay confident. Lots of perhaps doom mongering about house prices dropping and things like that. Most people of a certain age, as I say, have probably seen it before. We're very, confident that we have an excellent service, which should be of interest to an increasing number of people as we start to come out of what we're currently facing. Yeah, be confident is the message.
And I always I quite often refer to a sadly departed business philosopher, great mentor and great source of knowledge, a guy called Jim Rohn. Mr. Jim Rohn always said that spring always follows winter. Summer always follows that. Autumn follows summer. And then we're back to winter. It's the economic cycle. It's always happened. It will always happen. Nothing that we do will change that. And it's taking the opportunity at each stage and saying, we are where we are. How can we maximize that opportunity? Whether we're riding the crest of the wave, we have to be aware eventually that bubble will start to burst. And it's always happened. It always will. And as I say, being optimistic, looking at it in a positive way will always see you through. Back that up with a quality service. People will pay for quality. It's always the case. It's all about value that they perceive rather than just a price tag that's actually associated to it. So really great, and great to sort of share that, and really excited to be able to help you share this sort of information. As you say, your involvement is a relatively new aspect in terms of the company's journey, how they are. Really exciting times in terms of the area. Geographically, you're in an area that's got some great properties and great housing and great stock in terms of the products that you've got. So fantastic times ahead, and Yeah, things like economic downturns, I can only see actually helping you in terms of your favour as a quick and cost-effective way to move properties rather than just going through the traditional market. So I think you'll do very well out of it.
Hope so.
Hope's not a strategy. Make it happen. So that brings us to the end, and obviously would really like to thank Joe for sharing with us today. Some great sort of insights in terms of the industry, where it sits, how it differs, how it is unique, and how it's becoming ever more popular as a route to move your property on. If you're in business and you want to share your business, simply get in touch. We do these interviews with anyone who wants to share. It is for the benefit of everyone else, and it is all about abundance. The more we can share our businesses and the great successes that are actually happening, the more that will breed further success. SMEs are the absolute heartbeat of the UK economy, and the more businesses that we can get to thrive, then the more everyone will be doing better. So special thank you again to Joe. I was going to call you Sam there, one of your business partners in a different side of things. Special thanks to Joe for joining with us and sharing, and also a big thank you for everyone for watching this edition of the Business Showcase interviews. We'll see you soon.